Hey guys, welcome back to Ed's Garage. So today, putting on the solar panels, or at least putting on at least 3 of them. So if you haven't already seen the first few episodes of this series, this is the series whereby we are customizing a camper trailer, and we're going to be pulling this camper trailer across Canada using an Ioniq 6 electric vehicle. I've got a few other videos so far, so check the link in the description below, links in the description below, and if you haven't already seen them, check out those videos. So today is all about installing the solar panels and hopefully getting them hooked up to the charge controllers. Yes, charge controllers. So here's the deal. I've got these Mobi Solar 100 watt panels. I've got 5 of them. So the charge controller that I bought is capable of receiving up to 100 volts. But unfortunately, each one of these panels puts out about 22 volts. So I connect them all up in series, and that makes more than 100 volts, unfortunately. So the problem therein is that I'm going to need to connect 3 of these up in series, and then 2 of them up in series, and then charge the battery in parallel. Now, you can't really do that with one controller, because then they all run on the lower wattage system, and the whole system becomes inefficient. Essentially, when you hook these up in series, it adds the voltages. So these would be 60 volts, those would be 40 volts. And when you hook them up in parallel, it would add the amperage from one series bank to the amperage of the other series bank. The problem, though, is that it would all run at 40 volts. So you'd lose a lot of efficiency on these 3 panels. So these 3 panels are going to be mounted on the front of the trailer, on the sort of 45-degree angled portion. And the other slight issue that I have is that that's only about 55 3/4 of an inch across. And I'm going to have to cut my brackets down to no more than a 1/2 inch wide, sticking out on either side. I'm actually going to have to join these panels up, and I'll have to just stick to the trailer with double-sided adhesive. These 2, on the other hand, will be mounted on the top of the trailer, and they'll be connected to a pulse width modulated solar controller, whereas these 3 will be connected to an MPPT solar controller that's a little bit better at high voltages. So those will be in parallel, connected to PWM. These will be in series, connected to an MPPT. All of those will be, or those 2 devices will be connected in parallel to the battery, but they won't interfere with each other. They'll basically just start and stop charging at about the same time, and they shouldn't have any effect on each other. Now, my initial tests of these panels, they actually performed better than the rated wattage, which is pretty cool. I was pulling about 117 watts. And you can see here the rated open voltage, or open circuit voltage, is 20.8. This panel was pulling 22.2 volts, which is pretty awesome. And the short circuit amperage was actually a little bit higher as well. The whole thing, yeah, 117 watts when it wasn't connected to anything. So under no load, it is actually performing better than what's on here. You can see there is a plus or minus 3% tolerance of max power. So it's actually a bit more than that, but whatever. I'd rather have too much than too little. Now, granted, it's not a perfect science, so measuring all the open current stuff isn't exact anyway. But anyway, if you are interested in these panels, these are the best panels I've ever tested so far. And here's a QR code if you want the manual on the panel. And again, it is a Mobi Solar 100 watt panel. You can see the dimensions there. That scores in millimeters as well. And yeah, really, really nice panels. And of course, they come with the typical standard solar connectors as well. So these are the brackets that I'll be using. Now, basically the way these work is that this part actually goes on the thing that you're installing the solar panels onto, and then the solar panel sits on this, and this holds the edge of it. So it's a nice secure way of mounting your solar panels. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of height there, so if you do need to work underneath the panel, it's rather tight. So this will be mounted to the panel before it gets mounted to the trailer. So the problem I have is that these are too wide. I'm going to have to cut these down to no more than a 1/2 inch from here to here. And that's just because the width of the trailer won't accommodate the full width of these brackets. The other thing is I can't use a bracket like this on each side of each solar panel, because spreading them out basically, well, double this width if I'm putting 2 panels side by side is going to be way too much and won't fit. So basically the panels will be connected together. I'll have one of these connected, and then I'll use the bottom of this for some double-sided adhesive, and it can just sit there. I won't have the ability to screw these in because, well, once the solar panels are connected and sitting on top, there's no way to get to those holes. So that's okay though. In the middle, it should be all right. One of the cool thing about aluminum, you can cut it with a table saw that cuts wood. As long as it's thin enough, you shouldn't have a problem. So what I've got here, as you can see, a little jig set up. So I've got this piece of wood in here because the fence is not perfectly on here. So I don't want this kind of getting caught in there. I mean, on this side it's fine, but on this side the blade covers in there, so it kind of wants to creep underneath the fence. So I put this here so that this goes right up against the fence, and all I need to do is just carefully run it across. So if you're going to do something like this, guys, an extreme abundance of caution. Don't forget to wear safety goggles as well. Now, I don't know if you saw that, but this little piece did kick out. I was fully expecting that though, so make sure that if you are cutting something like that and you're basically capturing between the fence here part of the thing you're cutting off, make sure that either something's going to stop it or you're at least not standing there, because it's going to want to fling that out at a fairly high rate of speed. All right, but as you can see, I have a fairly reasonable cut. It's a little rough, but now I just got to clean it up. All right, and there we have our nice little new bracket. Now, basically the only thing I got to do is drill a couple holes in there. No big deal. So where that's going to go, I've already figured out where the little cross members are inside of here. However, the edge does have a piece running all the way up it as well. So technically, I can put these anywhere I want, but I will put them where the cross members are. Just because, I don't know, I feel like there's a little bit more strength there. And I only need two. So I can put one here, that should be fine. And then of course I gotta make two for the other side as well. So I'm gonna make up three more of these brackets and get that done. All right, so I'm getting the brackets put on for the center panel. Now, assuming that this is the center panel, this bracket isn't gonna be screwed on. This is gonna be the one that's adhered on with the double-sided sticky stuff. So I needed a way basically to fill this gap, because I'm going to put a bolt through here to tie these two panels together in two different places. So I'm going to 3D print some basically washers that fit perfectly in there out of PLA plus plastic. So that stuff doesn't really compress, doesn't change over time. If it gets hot, it might compress a little bit. That's the only thing I'm worried about, because it does get quite hot where we're going. But I think if I print it solid, it should be okay, especially considering I'm going to be printing it out of white PLA, so that'll help reflect some heat as well. Here's hoping it works. If not, then I might have to do a fix on the road, but I'm not too worried about that. All right, before I connect these two panels together, the other thing I'm going to do is going to use a little bit of sort of 30-pound 3M, and I'm going to put it in between here. So that'll be our shock absorption between the panels. Got my little washer here, which is going to go close to the outer edge so that it's possibly something I can get to very carefully. So I'll probably put it maybe between these two little holes here. So I'm going to have to drill straight through. But first, I'm going to connect these up, so I'm going to just clean that up with some rubbing alcohol so it sticks better. All right, for better or worse, these are now connected with the double-sided sticky tape. So that'll help keep everything in place while we drill our holes both on the top and bottom. And then I should be able to sandwich this in quite nicely. It's a pretty nice fit, actually. It fits perfect. So double wall. That I did not know. Alright, we've marked off the spots where the brackets need to line up. All the brackets are on, all the double-sided adhesive is on, and we're ready to put it up. Wish us luck, because if the adhesive gets stuck to this, getting it off is going to be a nightmare. So we've basically got to do it right the first time. So here it goes. Make sure the line doesn't get stuck. Mine's already getting stuck.
The line is at the top, maybe the top or bottom?
I tucked it in this way. So don't put the top up. Don't grab the top. Don't let it go down yet. All right. Are you lined up?
I think so.
Okay, go ahead and put it down. If you're lined up.
I am lined up.
Okay, line your top part up. Keep it right up against the silicone.
I think that's about right there.
Okay, go ahead and let it touch. Don't push down in corners. Oh, yeah, there we go. It's a bit lower on this side. You know what? I think it's actually lined up better along the bottom now. It goes through. We're doing some repairs. Yeah, I'm just gonna get it started. All right, the 3 front-facing solar panels are on. They look fantastic. So what we ended up doing was we ran a single nut and bolt through from the inside to the outside here, and then we put a screw on the bottom. And I did that on all 4 brackets. And the reason being is because screws are better at some things and nuts and bolts are better at others. So I figured let's combine the two, and yeah, hopefully that's enough. So that in combination with the 2-sided adhesive should be plenty to hold this on. My wife is a little bit concerned that there's a lot of weight here, and if we're going over bumps and whatnot, I'll be honest, I'm a little tiny bit concerned as well. As we're going over bumps, it's going to want to come down. So we may end up putting something along the bottom here just to support the bottom. For now, though, this will do. This will be good for testing purposes. So now it's a matter of getting the top 2 solar panels mounted, and they're a little bit interesting because I'm not sure where all of the wooden structure is in the roof. And of course, ultimately drilling through the roof of a vehicle like this is always nerve-wracking. You always got to worry about leaking and stuff like that. What we're going to do with these is I will cake this in silicone. I'll make it look nice, but it's going to have a lot of silicone over the head of each one of these screws and each one of the bolts, just to help prevent a little bit of water ingress over time. All right, having a look at the roof here. Now, this is a different type of material. It's a little bit more rough than what's on the side, so I can't rely on 2-sided adhesive to stick this, but what I can rely on is glue, and I've got some really, really good glue. I've got JB Weld, so what I'm thinking is actually gluing the brackets to the roof with JB Weld. I think that's probably going to be our absolute best option to keep them in place, and then of course drive some screws into it as well. First, I'm going to go along with a stud finder and see if I can figure out where the studs are. But basically the plan is to have 1 panel right here and 1 panel on the other side there. You can see these panels, they have just a tiny little bit of space underneath. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right, here's my plan. I'm gonna cut these brackets a little bit thinner, because as you can see, it doesn't quite fit here. It's already left a bit of a mark on this adhesive to silicone stuff. So I'm just going to take pretty much the same amount off on these two brackets as I did with the other side. That should be okay because I'm going to put the single hole there and it's going to get glued to the roof here, and one screw going into what is hopefully some actual sturdy cross members. Now if it's not, it doesn't matter too much. JB Weld will do a really good job fastening to this stuff because it's a little bit porous, so I expect it's going to do a really nice job. On this side, on the other hand, I'm going to actually just put these exactly where they go in there because this is the wall here. So there's definitely sort of a top cap structure here that I can screw down into. I'm not worried about that, but I'm also going to JB Weld those on as well. I'm literally going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. So let's get started. All right, so all of these solar panels are mounted. Check this out. So we've got the two up there and the three down there. Now you can see I've already gone ahead and siliconed all those nuts and bolts and screws. And of course, those ones are actually going down in through a bunch of JB Weld. I'm not worried about those at all. The JB Weld will seal that up really, really nicely. Everything is buttoned up nice and tight, nice and even. So now we just got to run all of the wiring. Now the wiring is going to be a little bit tricky as well. My plan is actually for the 3 solar panels on the front. You can see we've got a wire sticking out here. So that's one end of our series connection. And the other one is sticking out right over there. You can't see it's blending in with the drawers. But basically I'm going to run a wire from there all the way, or sorry, from here all the way to that side, and probably gonna go and put it through somewhere. Well, actually it has to be low enough that it goes into the storage area, because that's where of course the battery's gonna be and the solar controller. So I'll probably put like a hole right here. Let's see, yeah, just tuck it right in through that wall. It doesn't have to be a big hole, just a tiny hole. And then I will need something to sort of protect that. So yeah, I gotta figure that out still. Probably 3D print something that'll fit over that and then just glue the heck out of it. As far as the top panels go, there's a cupboard inside right about here. So what I'm planning on doing is actually having the holes for the wires right here, and there'll just be 2 wires coming out, so it'll be pretty simple. So I just gotta basically drill through the roof into the cupboard, and then I'll have a nice little spot there that'll seal that up. All right, let me show you what my plan is here. So this is the negative output right here. I'm gonna bring that along, well, as far as I can safely, connect it up to another negative wire, run it along here, meet up with this positive wire, and then the 2 are going to go down here, and they're going to go through this hole. Now I've made this hole very, very wide because obviously this is aluminum, so I don't want the wires chafing on that. And I've 3D printed these little sort of wire mounts. That's going to go right there, and it's going to glue into place and screw into place, and that'll hold it nicely. And then basically the wire will pass through there, so it's going to come down here, make a nice sharp 90-degree corner, go through there, make another nice 90-degree corner, and then basically meet up with the inverter somewhere inside here. So that's what it's doing, and yeah, we'll go from there. All right, there we go. Port is screwed in and siliconed all to hell, so that shouldn't leak. Now that basically runs right inside, and it's actually pretty easy to push the wire through. I just gave it a shot. So now it's time to hook up our wire and run it along here and push it into there. All right, so as you can see, I've got these guys hooked up in parallel. So there's my positive lead there, my negative lead. So I had to make these little adapters here. So inside of each one of these Y branches, basically there's a crimp-on metal fitting that's tying them all together, and it's quite tight. I've also wrapped the heck out of it to keep it nice and dry. So next step is to run it down into the trailer through a hole, probably right around here somewhere, maybe a little further over. But these ones, they're not going to be just dangling. I'm going to come up with some sort of solution to kind of fasten them to the roof without damaging the roof. So I've just got to figure that out. All right, so that is all siliconed up. And yeah, just got to button those wires down somehow. And you can see that those wires now have come down through here. And yeah, I'll be able to pin them nicely into that corner. I'm going to run them down to, well, about here actually, maybe over here, because I want to put the other solar controller on the wall right outside here, kind of keep it near the inverter control. So yeah, that way, you know, everything's kind of in the same place. And then of course I'll run the wires from the solar controller down through here and towards the battery again. So then I'll have two solar controllers controlling that battery. All right, so this is the pulse width modulated controller that I'm going to use for the top solar panels. You can see its rated voltage is 12 volts, the rated current maximum is 10 amps, and maximum photovoltaic voltage is 50 volts. All right, everything is hooked up, and as you can see, we're pulling in 14.5 volts from the solar array, which is not much, of course. 0.02 amps, but I'm going to quickly open up the garage door to get some sun exposure on the panels and see what it says. All right, the garage door is opening. Let's see what the voltage change is. Oh, look at that. It's climbing up. 41, 42. Looks like, yeah, it looks like around 40 volts. And how about our amperage? Not a whole heck of a lot. Barely 1 amp. Not even. 3/4 of an amp. Well, let's have a look at the solar panels and see what kind of sunshine they're getting. All right, well, as you can see, the panels are mostly in the sunlight. Not completely. I mean, there's that little strip along the top there. But, I mean, we got strong sun coming in, so I wonder why they're not getting quite what I was hoping for. Let's, well, this place is a bit of a mess from testing that water heater. Let's pull the trailer forward just a touch. Now the panels are completely in the sun. Let's have another look. Oh, look at this. Now we're getting way more amperage. Okay, this is much better. Now, these, of course, are hooked in series, which should raise the voltage, not the amperage. So I'm super confused by what's going on here. But it's looking good. Let's see what the voltage says. 56 volts. Okay. So it's actually getting better. As the panels kind of warm up, it's actually improving. So 55 volts. Look at this, 14 amps. That's a reasonable amount of power. I decided to put a draw on the batteries here just to see. So I've got the trailer currently plugged in. I'm going to load it up with all sorts of draw here and see what we get. So currently the inverter is working away to charge up the battery. The battery currently showing that it's at 18% down there, which is, it's not correct, obviously. But yeah, you can see here now it is currently draining the battery. There's a lot of load on it, and that the solar panel is doing its best. So now that we actually have a reading on that, we can have a look here. So the solar panels are currently providing 51 volts. At 15 amps. That doesn't seem right. That seems way too high. I've tested the voltage at the solar panel connections. It is indeed 52 volts, but I hooked up my ammeter here, and sorry, it's upside down, but this says 2.9 amps. That makes way more sense. That would indicate that I'm getting 160 watts, which makes way more sense from the 3 panels. I mean, granted, it's not 300 watts like I would hope, but I mean, that ammeter isn't exact either. But you can see I am getting direct sun. I mean, yeah, the sun's not... I'll bet you if I turn the trailer a little bit that way, I'll probably do even better. I wonder if I got the room to do that here. I'm gonna try it. All right, strangely, it's worse. 45 volts at 2.9 amps. So less wattage in total. What the heck? All right, so as you can see, I got the solar controller hanging up. Got some wires poking through here. These will get shoved back, well, basically all the way in. Actually, now that they're good, I can go ahead and shove those in. And then the solar panel wires I'll hook up last because I've got to connect this up to the battery first. But what you can see here, I've got it all kind of tucked in behind. And these ones will get pinned in the corner. Those go up to the solar panel. Down through there, and then they got to run across. And I'm thinking just run them on here. And I'm actually just going to connect it to the battery out on the other solar controller because that should be sufficient. All right, wires are all tidied up. A little bit of extra slack there just in case. Go through there. Control wire. Oh, got my finger in front of the camera, sorry. Control wire is going as well. Got it zip tied to the wires underneath the seat there. I just got to clean up the battery box.
Well, it occurred to me today while putting this video together that I never actually closed it out. I've been doing a lot of other videos in between, and the solar panel project was spread out over several days, but it is now all done. Everything that you saw in the video basically was it being completed. Yeah, I just never closed out the video, so my apologies. The end of this video is a little odd and a little shortcut, but yeah. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, don't forget to mention those below in the comment section. If this video was interesting to you at all, or if it helped you out, don't forget to hit like. And if you want to see more videos about this charging across the continent trip that we're going to be doing, please don't forget to subscribe and maybe hit the bell icon as well. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.